I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to explain the consonant and vowel sounds of the letter Y. I'm also going to explain when, like what grade levels I teach these different concepts, and then also provide some activity ideas for working on the different sounds of Y. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video about teaching literacy in K2. Okay, so let's dive into the sounds of Y. First of all, a question for you. When you're teaching kids the vowels, do you teach them the chant A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y? Just curious if you use that. It's one I learned many moons ago. So just type yes in the comments if you use that A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y chant. So Y, as we know, is a little bit of a tricky letter. He's a trickster. We can have the consonant sound for Y like yellow, right? Or yo-yo. And this one is typically one that I'll teach in kindergarten. And in kindergarten, that's really all we cover. That's enough for the kids to learn the y sound. Now, if you have a really advanced reader, that's another story. But for most kindergartners, this is enough. The letter Y can also, when it appears at the end of a word, right, it can have a long I or a long E sound. I usually in first grade will work with them on the long I sound at the end, and I may introduce the long E sound, but it's more just in passing, like, hey, did you notice? Isn't that funny? The letter Y can also say the long E, but mostly in first grade we'll review this and then also work on the long I sound a bit as well. So typically if the letter Y is stealing the vowel sound of long I, it's because it's at the end of a one-syllable word like shy or my or sky or fly, something along those lines. Now, if a Y appears at the end of the word, it can steal the long E sound, but it's typically if the word has two or more syllables. So like happy, puppy, pony, words like that, long E sound at the end. So that rule works most of the time, but there are some exceptions, like with the words rely or reply. Those actually rely, two syllables, right? And it actually has a long I sound. But generally speaking, this number of syllable rule will work. And what I teach my kids most of all is just, hey, if you try one sound for Y and it doesn't work, try another one, right? So we can teach them the rule, hey, if the letter Y appears at the beginning, it's usually going to have the consonant sound. If it's at the end, it's going to have long I or a long E, but we want them to be able to think flexibly. I teach that for a lot of skills, right? Even with vowel sounds. Hey, if the short sound doesn't work, try the long sound. So we want our kids to be able to try different things and just kind of think on their feet when they're problem solving a word. The last sound of Y, another tricky one, I don't know how well you can see this, but actually short I, like in the word gym, J-I-M, right? The short I. So this one is not like super common, so I don't prioritize it as much. It's just more of like if we encounter the word gym, I might point out, hey, isn't that funny? The Y makes the short I sound in this word. So kids would typically learn this through learning the actual words like gym. You know, in kindergarten, like I said, we do this, the consonant sound. In first grade, we focus on the long I at the end. Second grade, we review and then also add the long E. And then really, I would say first grade and up, if we see the short I sound in context, then I'll mention it, but it's not like, you know, I do a ton of instruction on it for sure. Okay, so that would be, these are the sounds of Y, and those are the grade levels in which I teach them. Now let's talk about some different activities that can help you when you're teaching the different sounds of Y. So one thing that's pretty simple and basic, but it's a great activity, is just to do a word sort. So give kids cards, and some of them have Y that makes the long I sound at the end. Some of them have Y that makes the long E sound. They sort the cards and they're putting them into categories based upon the sound of Y. You could even throw in gym, right? Like you could have exceptions or short I. You could throw in that and have 3 columns as well if that's something that you wanted to do. Another thing that is great, let me pull it up here on my iPad, is to have kids actually, you know, applying the rule to real reading. So this is a decodable text. Shady Brady, the lazy pony. As you can see, there's a lot of Y, final Y words in there. And, you know, of course we want to work with words in isolation, but we really want our kids to apply that concept to their reading. So if they're using a decodable text, that one is from my Teachers Pay Teachers store, Learning at the Primary Pond. If you want a link, let me know. Just say, hey, I want a decodable text link, and I can give that to you in the comments. But anyway, those texts are structured so that they specifically have certain patterns. And if you have a text that maybe has some words with Y that say I and some words with Y that say E, have the kids read the story, but then give them 2 different colored highlighters or markers, and then they go back. And with one color, they highlight the words that have the long I sound with Y, and then with a different color, they highlight the words that have the long E sound with Y. So they're actually seeing those words in context, practicing. And this is also another good opportunity if kids are still, learning words that have different Y sounds, to teach them to apply that rule of, hey, if one sound doesn't work, no big deal, just try the other sound. So decodable texts are great for that. Another thing you could do is have students pretend to be the Y bandit, and maybe they find words in a text or around the room, like maybe you post different words around the room, and the Y bandit steals the vowel sound, right? Because it's not the consonant sound in words like shy and happy, it's stealing a vowel sound. So you can do something with that as well. All right, so I hope that this gave you some guidance and ideas for teaching the different sounds of Y. I would love to share with you a scope and sequence that shows you, not only when do I teach the sounds of Y, but when do I teach the other, sounds and phonics patterns, what order do I teach them in? So I'll include in this video a link for my free phonics scope and sequence. Make sure to grab that, don't miss it. It just goes straight to your email inbox, totally free. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and I will see you in the next video.